Alright guys, what's up? Not much. Today we will be tearing this thing apart because there's a crack in the block. I don't know what's up with this engine. The cluster didn't work in the car, so I really don't even know how many miles are on this thing. I mean, there could be 200, there could be 300,000, who really knows? So what we're going to do here is basically just strip this whole thing down. I guess I'll just time lapse it just to kind of go through everything. So I guess if you've never stripped an engine before, we're going to pull the valve cover off, the side cover, then we'll probably take the timing stuff off, take the cam caps off, take the cams out, take the rest of the cam stuff off, then to pull the head, we'll probably pull the water pump and stuff off too, and pull this off, take the head off, inspect the pistons, inspect the block, flip it over, and we'll probably take the oil pan, oil pump, all that stuff off the bottom when we get all that stuff off. But I guess we'll see. If I see anything interesting, I'll stop between to go over it. But basically, I didn't want to, the engine's still dirty and everything. I didn't want to clean this up if the block or something's, extremely wrong with it. Then I guess we'll just like toss it and we'll just use another one before we just like basically clean this up for nothing if it's toast. So yeah, I guess let's go ahead and let's get to rolling. All right, guys. Well, we have encountered our first problem. This motor's dirty as hell, so who knows how many miles on it, but I think this is, I guess, cam cap number 4, completely shot. So I don't think we're going to be able to reuse this. I guess you can see the cam cap, I guess where the cam rides right here, but look at this lobe right here. This lobe is completely shot. Like, I guess maybe this thing lost oil or something at one point, but like it's completely worn out. Like, let me set this down and grab you guys over here. Yeah, like, all right, this is a good cam cap. Like, now that one's still good. That one not so good. That one shot. And then that looks like a good one. So yeah, that's not what your cam cap is supposed to look like. These ones look okay in here. I can't do this with one hand. Yeah, these ones, they look decent. I think this one started to fail a little bit, but these still look good. Look, that one still looks good. That one's shot. That one's good. That one's good. And that one's good. But yeah, this cam looks decent. This one is the lube that was riding on that one, and I think it's shot too. So I guess the head is basically done for. I mean, we could put new cams. Well, yeah, I would need new cams and new cam caps if we were to reuse this head. So I guess let's get back to pulling the rest of it apart. We know the head's kind of, well, the top half is shot, but maybe the bottom half will still be good. All right, guys. So upon further inspection, I think we have found a problem with the cylinders. So check this, right? When we go to spin all the pistons over, look what moves. That's not good. Hold on, what's cylinder 4 doing? So I guess we're down a piston. That's not good, is it? Well, I mean, we're 3 up, 1 down, and yeah, so not good. So I guess the block is pretty much shot. That might be why there's a crack in the block. So let's keep rolling. So yeah, the GoPro died. Not really sure when it died. Maybe towards the end. I think I caught everything, but who knows? Plugged it up, gave it some juice. So yeah. Cam caps though, VTEC rockers, looking good. That one looks good. Well, no, that one looks pretty middle of the road. That one looks good. That one looks pretty bad. That looks horrible. Pretty bad. Pretty bad. Decent. Decent. Pretty bad. And yeah, okay. So yeah, this is kind of just the top end of the engine, and then the cams, that looks pretty bad. Here's the rest of that stuff over here. And then the head is over here. Yeah, no busted valve springs or anything like that. I think the head, actually, I think out of everything that is here, I think the head is the only thing that is reusable because there's no bent valves or anything like that. I checked all those with the light and everything. I think those are good. So I think out of everything, this might be the only good thing. Everything else is trash. The whole engine's done, but that might be the only good thing. So no valve spring failures or anything like that. So that looks okay. All right, well, thanks for sticking around this long. It's probably been a while. Most of you have probably already clicked off of the video because I've already seen by the stats, y'all don't watch my videos to the end. So whatever, I guess that's pretty cool. But I figured I'll throw this in at the end of kind of a why this engine failed. Actually, I did not buy this engine blown up. I blew this up just for a test standpoint. I really wanted to see when the balance oil shafts fail, or like it basically when does RPM die, and can you basically kill an A3 due to RPMs, or can you basically kill it due to the balance oil pump shafts? I've done many tests with the A2 style pumps. That pump is a lot better. Just, it is what it is. The pump is better, but the test of this was kind of, if you had a balance shaft pump in your car, are you even going to get to a point where you mess up this? Like, can you mess up your engine with this pump? That was kind of the test on this, because you can't just go online and figure out, hey, I have a balance shaft oil pump. How am I good? How far can I go? And nobody really has an answer. So it's more just like you kind of got to blow it up yourself and figure it out, because if you go online, everybody's just going to tell you, hey, swap to the A2 pump. And that's true. But at the same time, what if you have that pump and you just don't feel like upgrading, or you don't have the skills to, take an engine out of a car and change the pump over, because some of us just don't. I mean, so this was kind of a test just for me, so I could figure out basically when it failed, what happened, and that's kind of what I'll go over next. Okay, so this is a result of oil pressure failure, of losing oil pressure. The bearings in here are shot, they're gone. I knew that. The only thing I did to this engine was bone stock, just basically an intake only. The only thing I did to this engine before I started doing all this was I basically installed K-Pro, I think I set the rev limit to like 13,000 or 14,000 RPMs. And then I plugged in a oil pressure sensor into K-Pro so I could read the oil pressure as I ran this engine basically to its death, to see when the pump cavitated, or even, you know, could I pick up any vibrations? Was the engine knocking, or, you know, anything I could find out, just data logging all this just to run it to its death of how far you can run this and do that. So let's check the damage. So here we are. This is all the stuff I kind of pulled out of the engine. You can see I took the pump apart, trying to figure out, I guess, what happened or where it failed. These are pieces of the block that came out of the front. I actually knocked those out. So what I think happened here with this engine, the balance shafts inside of this oil pump, I think were the cause of it. I basically spun this to a point where the harmonics basically killed the chain and the tensioner, the pump tensioner. I think that once I spun this to a certain point, it was actually spinning so fast that it was just like the harmonics in here just couldn't keep up. It caused a lot of wear on the chain because, like, I don't know if you guys see this, like, look how stiff this chain is. Like, it's almost hard to move. Like, it doesn't even want to move at all. Like, it normally when you have an oil pump chain, this thing is supposed to like flop around, but this chain is hard as hell. And two, I think that because either it wore the chain out, and either it wore basically broke the tensioner, because I was logging this and I remember actually driving it and it losing 100% oil pressure. And that's why when we popped this thing off, the chain was not even on the oil pump. So the oil pump was not spinning at all at some point. And I actually logged that where the pump actually stopped just when the pump failed. So at this point, I have an A3 with no oil pressure because, you know, the pump is not spinning. And the thing is, like, I spun this thing pretty good, and there's no accelerated wear or anything on the bearings in here. This didn't actually wear out that much. And I mean, I was spinning this thing way past what you should be spinning it. That actually didn't kill anything too much. But then at this point I had no oil pressure. So I just said, I have no oil pressure in a car. How hard can you run this thing with no oil pressure? Like if the pump is not on whatsoever. So I basically just ran it into the ground and kept doing burnouts and just driving the car hard till actually I had a piston failure. I mean, actually a rod failure. And at that point, the car was still running. So I just said, I'll take it home. I actually drove it home like this, like the car with no oil pressure and three cylinders. I drove the car still home. So obviously Hondas are bulletproof at this point. You can run them with no oil pressure and 3 pistons, and the car still drives. Before I pulled the engine, you could still turn the key and start it up. Sounded pretty bad, but I think what happened though with this, I spun this thing so hard that I'm pretty sure when the rod exploded, like, I don't know if you guys can see this right here. Like, this is piece of the rod cap down here at the bottom. I'm pretty sure this is the other half of this or something. This is actually one of the rod caps. Like, this is cylinder 1, 2, 3, and this is 4. So as you can see, 4 was pretty bad. This basically just destroyed itself. Like, this is actually a piece of it right here. This piece, I think, is like that piece of that. So I think it just spun to a point of death. Yeah, so it spun it up pretty good. It actually, the bearings in here, these are the crank bearings. The crank bearings are completely shot too. One didn't look too bad, but as you kind of move this way towards the problem side, which cylinders 1 and 2, the bearings were gone there, but they don't look as bad as the ones that were closer down to this piston where this one failed. So I'm pretty sure I just spun it to a point where this failed, and then the engine just basically came apart. So yeah, what is it? What else was in here? Oh, even the oil pump piece in here where this piece pumps your oil. This had no type of wear on it whatsoever, so that was pretty interesting. None of that had any wear on it. But yeah, guys, I don't want to keep this video too long. I'm just kind of showing what happened to the engine. If you stick around to the end, I know this video is kind of long. Just a little time process of breaking an engine down to see kind of what happened with it. But yeah, so I guess we'll, at this point, the whole engine is destroyed. There is nothing really usable of this at all. So I guess we'll just pick up another A3 out of the corner over here, and we'll just go ahead and rebuild this to put it back in our EP3. So, all right, guys, next video, we will probably be pulling apart the transmission to see what happened with that thing. All right, guys, later.